What's up, everybody? It is 31 days of board games. I'm Joe. I think Eric's going to be hopefully. And tonight I am playing Ghoul Panic, a.k.a. the version I'm actually playing is Bakyuuun, which is the Japanese version because the way the PlayStation 1 boot a PAL game on any PS1, it is going to have in 50 Hz, which my CRT, play this game, doesn't like. So, I'm playing the Japanese version, which I do actually want to copy of. It's over there on my shelf. And I've actually had it for a while. And still have never played it, so this game versus game. Eric says hard to hear me over the game audio. That's because I was recording, so turn that way down. That should be better. But hey, Eric, thanks for hanging out. Alright, so if you didn't hear all of that, I will repeat some of it. This is Ghoul Panic, a.k.a. Bakyuuun. It is a Namco arcade shooter developed by Aiding/Rising, which is one of the many companies from the Teleplan diaspora. And it's sort of viewed by some people as this kind of spiritual, no pun intended, spiritual successor to Point Blank, but with ghosts, ghost-themed Point Blank. So that's what we're doing. I'm not feeling super good tonight because I went to an overnight horror movie marathon last night at my local nonprofit movie house, and I have not slept yet. So, I'm probably not going to be doing this for very long. Also, the mic stand is like right here in front of me, which means pointing this thing could be a little bit of a problem. We'll see. Also, this game seems to insist on using the controller for certain inputs, which is really annoying. So yes, in this game you play as two cats who are apparently also Ghostbusters. And for some reason the player 2 side started and not the... It's not one thing, it's another. Game vs. Game says, Jesus man, committed to Spooktober. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do in October is to go to mystery horror movie marathons. When I lived in DC, Kurt and I, who I don't think Kurt's going to be around tonight, but we used to go to Dismember the Alamo just about every year. In the last year that we both lived there, they had... there were 2 Alamo locations by the time I moved away, and Kurt moved away. I guess he lives in North Carolina now. And we went to both of them. We went to Ashburn and what was the other one? Well, whatever. It's not important. We went to both of the. Like, is one of the buttons on my Guncon just like not? I have 2 Guncons. I guess I can switch to the other one. It was like one of these buttons not working the way it ought to. Oh, hey, there's Eric.
I'm here.
What's up, man?
Too much. How you doing?
Well, as I was just saying, tired. I'm tired. Because I saw 7 movies last night between 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. And I have not gone to sleep yet. So.
Wait, what time? 10 p.m. to 10 a.m.?
Yes, correct. Yep, 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. So.
You should go to bed.
I am going to.
There we go.
I am going to at some. I was saying I'm probably not going to be around.
That's fine.
Super duper late and doing this super duper long. I'm also premiering a new video tonight. If anybody is interested in that, over on my main channel at 8:30 Central Time. That is the plan.
All right. So what was the rundown on the movies?
Well, let me. Okay, this is driving me insane. Like, I can't start the game from the gun, and I don't know what the problem is. Like,
are you supposed to be able to shoot in one of the menu things?
well, it let me shoot in the menu, but now that it's on this like tutorial screen, like I feel like one of these buttons is not working.
Working, maybe? Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to switch to my other Guncon, which is fucking annoying. But give me a second while I do that, and I will start giving you the rundown on the movies while I do it, because I should be within mic range as I do that. So, first movie was Wreck, the 2007 Spanish film. Found footage zombie movie.
Okay. Never heard of it.
Really?
I don't think so.
My frame of reference for it had been that I felt like it was one of the early, when we used to refer to it as Netflix Instant. It was a movie that was on there like pretty soon after its US release. Like, it didn't get a US theatrical run. It was on there pretty fast, and I feel like a lot of people were like, oh, there's this Spanish like found footage zombie movie, it's super good, it's on Netflix Instant, you know, like, check it out. Which I never did. I had not actually seen it. I was aware of it, but I had not actually ever watched it. So
there are a lot of movies called Wreck.
Are there?
Yeah.
There's an American remake, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think it's called Wreck. Maybe it is, actually. Maybe it is just called Wreck. Like,
no, neither of these Wrecks have anything to do with... Oh, is this REC?
Yes, REC.
Okay. Because there's a movie called The Wreck, and then there's a movie called Wreck, and then there's a movie also called Wreck with, looks like Adrian Brody, but this is something else. Okay. That's why.
Yeah, this is Rec REC.
Right, like the button on a VCR.
Like the button on a camera, really. I think what they're going for with this one. Okay, let's see if this Guncon will cooperate a little more.
So how was that? Was it good?
There we go. Apparently the B button on one of my Guncons does not work.
Your solder iron out.
That's right. I liked it. I think, like I was telling Megan when I got home from the thing today, like, I think that in 2007 that was sort of like peak found footage.
Yeah.
And I was just sort of burned out, and that's probably why I didn't watch it at the time, as I was just like, I do not...
I never liked those, so I didn't watch enough to ever get burned out, but
like I just didn't want any more found footage at that point, and you know that was kind of that as far as I was concerned. So, but now having seen it, it's a kind of novel. First of all, it's a good one of those.
okay.
And again, I don't like Paranormal Activity. I don't like any of those movies. You know, I'm very picky when it comes to found footage horror, and I enjoyed it. And it's kind of a novel twist on the found footage. On the zombie genre specifically. It like once you find out kind of what is going on, it's not what you normally expect from a zombie movie. Like where the zombies came from is different than sort of, especially recent modern zombies coming out. I don't think I shot enough ghosts. As I was saying before you got here, the bar for my mic stand is like directly in front of me, which makes it
it's hard to play the
I have
right
to either
way.
like hooking my arm under or kind of just
Okay. I mean, like I said, I have yet to see the found footage movie that really works for me. So
the original Blair Witch Project I saw when it was new, and it scared the fucking shit out of me.
I was bored. I was so bored when I watched that movie.
That's one of few horror movies that I've seen that I can legitimately say like it actually scared me.
Seems like that movie either really, really gets to you, or like in your
or you
blood,
think it's the dumbest shit you've ever seen.
That's how I felt. You know?
Yeah.
So I've tried. I watched like Paranormal Activity and Cloverfield and
Cloverfield was
a couple of the other
fine.
Like Cloverfield is like kind of fun, but it's not really like a.
But when I watch a Godzilla movie, I want to see Godzilla like destroy buildings, and you don't really see hardly any of that in Cloverfield because it's all from the ground level, which I guess was novel at the time. But
I mean, Wikipedia says Cannibal Holocaust is a found footage movie.
I mean, kind of, yeah. I don't like that movie either, though. So
no.
So, so that was the first movie. The second movie was Blood Diner.
Is that like Diner but with blood?
Yes. No, it's like an unofficial sequel to Blood Feast, which is a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. It was directed by a woman, which is just fantastic because at the end they resurrect an evil goddess who grows like a giant vagina mouth in her chest.
Cool.
Like from her cleavage down to her belly button, basically, she has this giant. She looks like the gaping dragon, in Dark Souls.
Blood Feast is that the killer turkey one?
No, that's Blood Freak.
Oh, Blood Freak. Yeah, you're right.
An understandable error to make, for sure. Jesus. Oh, God. This is the color matching one, so I can't just like mindlessly shoot. I have to actually pay attention to what I'm doing. Ah, shit.
Hang on 1 second.
Alright.
Hello? Oh, yep.
Well, I hit enough ghosts, but I also was wrong a whole bunch, so I think I'm about to lose all my lives, so hopefully I can continue. Or maybe I don't lose lives for getting them wrong in this game like you do in Point Blank. There's stuff... Eric Grider is saying stuff in the chat, but I actually can't quite read it from where I'm sitting, so... Hopefully when Eric Allen gets back, he can read that stuff. Oh, hey,
he says...
Kurt is here.
He says, "Hey, Joe, a bit hard to hear you over game audio," and then says, "There you are."
Yep. I got
Jesus
that
man
far.
committed to Spooktober. For as often as my cat stares off into the void, I'd believe they can be Ghostbusters.
Yes. The game I'm playing is you are 2 cats.
Ghostbusting cat.
Ghostbusters.
Got it.
Right now I'm shooting a baby Frankenstein on a pogo stick for some reason, so...
Well,
As one
why would
does.
you not?
Oh, now it's a full-grown Frankenstein.
maybe you gotta shoot him before he gets big.
I think it's just once he reaches like a certain health threshold,
yeah.
he turns into
Continues to get bigger and bigger.
Monster.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most recent message was, I tried a found footage movie called The Host because it seemed terrible and couldn't finish it, and I like that movie.
A
lot of people liked that movie.
liked that movie. That was one that worked for me too, actually. That was the quarantine.
Are we talking about the Korean movie or a different one?
Well, the Korean one's
I
not
assume we're
found
talking-
footage, is it? I thought we were talking about.
We're talking
the-
about
No,
the-
that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, the
the
Zoom
Zoom-
seance movie.
Yeah.
I think I did see that one as well.
I liked it.
This-
When
It
I
was
think it
like-
of, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I liked it. I had fun with that.
It was like kind of a big deal last year.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Well, it's the Korean one's about it's like a giant.
It's a kaiju movie.
Suckerfish,
of a
right?
sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, big sucker fish. But so Blood Feast was the second movie. Or not Blood Feast. Blood Diner was the second movie, which is again
Right, which
an
is-
unofficial sequel.
Like
to
I
Blood
said,
Feast.
it's like Diner, but with a lot of blood in it.
Right. Yeah. The whole
So
thing
Mickey
is that
Rourke is in
Steve, Steve Gutenberg is a vampire.
Steve Gutenberg, right?
Yeah.
these two brothers run.
Who else is in Diner? I want to make some more of these jokes, but I can't.
Yeah.
These two brothers.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
These two brothers run what is
Kevin
ostensibly a
Ghoul
vegetarian
Yeah.
a vegetarian restaurant in Los Angeles, but actually the reason their vegetarian food is so good is because it's cannibal food.
Oh no.
Wait,
And nobody can tell the difference
for like
somehow.
So it's like fried bean
rabbits?
tomatoes then?
rabbit committed. It's like a thinly veiled Sweeney Todd.
Well, they're not barbers; they run a diner.
Motel Hell.
Kind of like Motel, except they're also trying to resurrect an ancient goddess of death with the help of their uncle, who is a brain in a jar, who is supposed to be the brain of the.
How does it communicate to them?
It has like a speaker box voice thing.
Have I seen this movie? I might have seen this movie.
I mean, you might have. It seems like the kind of movie you would have.
Is there a
watched
wrestling
at some
scene
point.
in this
yes,
movie?
there is.
Okay. I
One
have
of the
seen this
brothers
movie.
wrestles little Jimmy Hitler at an indie wrestling show.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I have seen this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's the movie you're
thing-
thinking
the-
of. That
the
is
thing
Directed
is,
by
with-
Jackie Kong.
directed
The
by
thing with
Jackie
these
Chan,
types of
directed by a
movies
woman.
is that they definitely all kind of just have. I've seen enough of them.
They kind of blur together.
and it's been like
Blur together.
it's been like probably a decade really since I really watched a lot of them. So it's like they're just kind of all like a big conglomeration of weird, bad, awesome horror films.
Yes. So that was movie number 2. Movie number 3 was Alone in the Dark, but not that one.
Uh-huh.
It was the 1982 Jack Shoulder directed Alone in the Dark, starring, get this is like a low-budget 80s horror movie. This is pre-Nightmare on Elm Street New Line Cinema made this movie.
Right.
Jack Palance, Martin Landau,
Wow.
Duke
Donald
of New
Pleasance?
York,
Like
Donald Pleasance,
post
yes.
canon or just
Yeah.
when you could get Donald Pleasance for like a ham sandwich.
Listen, if you're gonna make, is this like a slasher movie?
Yeah, kind of. It's a home invasion thing. Donald Pleasance is playing against type because he is the psychiatrist who runs this home for mentally ill people. But he's like super hippy dippy. He like smokes weed all the time and is like doesn't want to lock any of the patients up. And that's how a bunch of
So he's different than the Halloween Donald.
right. He's
Pleasance.
basically playing the opposite
Yeah.
of Halloween Donald Pleasance.
He's the one that Dr. Loomis would scream at about how
right.
you're so naive and
How irresponsible.
you've let
he
hell
is.
come to town. Yeah,
Death has come to your town, Sheriff.
I don't understand what that one thing was. It looked like a sperm.
They're ghosts. They're all ghosts. I'm a ghost busting cat.
Okay.
I told you this.
Ghost sperm.
Teardrop ghosts.
Every time
you
you
did,
jerk
but
off,
those are
it
not
makes-
cats.
Every time you jerk off, it makes thousands of ghost sperm.
Well, they do call
the
it the
thing-
little death.
And
So
the thing about ghost sperm is they're all over. They're in the air at all times. They're passing through you as we speak.
Are you a
Whatever you do.
Scientologist, Eric? Is suck.
Don't pull out a black light, whatever you do.
Yeah, so that Jack Palance, like the movie is actually not very good, but Jack Palance kind of makes it. Like the Jack Palance and Martin Landau and Donald Pleasance like make the movie basically. Like it's not a very good movie. It takes a very dim view of mental health.
Shocking.
Yeah,
An 80s horror movie that doesn't have a modern understanding of
Mental health issues.
yeah, it's shocking, right?
Oh
So-
man, it has Dynamo from The Running Man in it.
Oh, that is who that is. Yes.
Yeah, it sure is.
He's a kid toucher in that movie.
Great.
What's the movie called again?
Alone in the Dark. Not that one.
But not that one. Yeah.
It can't be worse than
No,
The
it's
one
definitely
we
not
found in-
worse than that one, but it is not.
probably
So the-
probably it has to be more watchable than
They're out for blood.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
It's a
What's on
home
the poster?
invasion. Basically, the long and short of it is that the inmates on the third floor. I don't know why I'm putting that in quotes. It actually is the third floor, but the third floor is where the the most dangerous inmates are. And the
Right.
movie's called Alone in the Dark because they're all like. Donald Pleasance refuses. Oh, I had limited ammo on that one. I fucked up. Donald Pleasance refuses to like lock up his patients, like voyagers. He calls them. They're voyagers. Not mentally whatever. He refuses to lock them up. He doesn't want to lock them up. So he uses electronic locks so that if they try to escape, things lock down. But then there's a blackout. You see. And
There it
so the everybody is then alone in the dark, and also
Except when there's a murderer there.
right.
or if you're with some other
Holy
people.
shit,
then-
Lynn Shay is in it.
Lin Shaye is in all the early New Line movies because she's Bob Shaye's sister.
Yeah. Is this
Good God, this.
so 1982?
So like I said, pre-Nightmare, first Nightmare.
But the IMDb page and shows a cut from the trailer that shows this guy wearing a hockey mask.
Right. But this is after.
This is
no, it's
the same
before.
year. No, same year. Same
Yeah.
year as
I
Friday
just
Part 3.
Oh, it was. I skimmed too quickly. The thing that came up as I started to search was the final chapter. I was like, that seems late, but all right.
Yeah, final chapter.
I mean,
he
just
has the,
the
mask by
thing. The
final
thing
chapter.
about those movies is that one came out like every year in the '80s, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every year except
Had
two.
a lot of teenagers to punish.
A lot of horny teens had to die.
Yeah.
Every year except, I think, what was it,
81, 82, 83, no 80, or 80, 81, 82, no 83, 84, 85, 86, no 87, 88, 89.
That's because they shot them all together like the Lord of the Rings.
No.
And then Jason Goes to Hell was 4 years later because it took 4 years to really
To get
wrap their
Creighton
minds
Duke
around.
on
Right.
board.
Right. We're not going to make another one of these.
Hey, wait a minute, fellas. What if
What if
sent
we
him to
made
hell?
another one of these? Yeah. So, yeah, there's a dude in a hockey mask in that same year as Jason got his hockey mask, which is a weird coincidence, I guess. But, yeah, it's... I don't know. It's fine. Movie number 4 was fucking... Oh, boy. It's called Rapture. It's a Spanish film. So there were 2 Spanish films. And when I say Spanish, I'm not just saying in Spanish. I am saying 2 films that were made
From
in
Spain.
Spain specifically. So it was this movie called Rapture, or the Spanish word for Rapture. And
Oh man, it has Esubio Poncela in it.
we were sold. The guy who introed the movie really sold it hard as like, this is trippy. He even said like, if you brought, I'm not saying you should have brought edibles to this overnight horror movie marathon, but if you did, you should eat them now. And
You know, the last time I went to a horror movie marathon with you and the host really sold the movie hard, I also was disappointed. So.
I'm trying to remember which one that was. Which one was that?
Was the Society?
Society,
or whatever the fuck
yes,
that was
that's
called.
right. He did. The Shunting.
There are a lot of movies named Rapture, it turns out, also.
This is
It's
the 1979.
Arapato.
Yes.
Yeah, I found it. I found it, but there's also just like a bunch of movies about the Rapture.
Right. This is actually not about the
The
Rapture.
one with Mimi Rogers.
This is
I think there's
This
there's
is-
a Nicolas Cage based on the Left Behind.
yes.
As
That's true.
I skimmed down to the IMDb page, there's a bunch of tags, which include male full frontal nudity, full frontal male
That's
nudity,
true.
pubic hair.
There, all of those
Ooh.
things
I was
are
like,
included.
okay.
Is it a full-on disco bush, Joe, or
It's pretty disco
Nin-
bushy, yeah.
I was gonna say 1979 Spanish.
The dude
Yeah.
has
He would be much man if he had.
manscaping had not yet come into fashion.
That would not be manly.
So
So
yeah,
you thought not good.
I found it extremely overlong, ponderous, boring. I just fucking was not on board with that movie, and I mean,
Holy shit, it's an hour and 45 minutes too.
it's an hour and 45 minutes, and basically nothing really that.
what just happened to that
remotely
cat was super
spooky.
fucked up, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't kill enough ghost icicles to save the cat, so sorry.
Is a ghosticle? Is that a ghost icicle, or is that a
ghosticle.
ghost testicle?
That's right. Now it's
That's when your testicles are haunted.
So not recommended on that.
After
one.
you get a ghost blowjob.
just like
I didn't
Ben
say it
Affleck.
wasn't recommended.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No,
I
the
mean-
movie.
I just
No,
I
yeah.
I found it. It wasn't especially sexy. There's sex in it, but it wasn't especially sexy. It wasn't especially trippy. It wasn't especially spooky or creepy. It's about two people who do way too much fucking heroin, and this weird dude who makes weird movies, and then at the end his camera is haunted or something, or it's a metaphor for overdosing on heroin. Not really totally sure, and I don't really care. So that was that movie. I really oversold it. Just the whole yeah, man, this is fucking take your edibles now, bro. I just, dude, did not work for me, brother.
So you're saying if you want movies about sad movies about heroin, you should just watch
You
Trainspotting.
just watch Trainspotting or Requiem for a Dream, although that's a real
Oof.
fucking downer.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't need to see that again.
At least you can enjoy the accents and the banter in Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Well, Trainspotting is also funny, right? I mean, it's
It
sad
is,
in a
yeah.
lot of ways, but it's also mostly a comedy.
Monster says evening.
Hey, Smoke.
Did either of you guys see the sequel?
No,
couple years ago?
Nope.
I wanted to because everybody was
Never
back
got
in,
around
right? Danny
A lot
Boyle
of
was
people are, I
doing
think.
it, and Ewan McGregor, and Johnny Miller, and I can't remember who plays Bigby. What's that? He was-
Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle.
Which I only know because I'm looking at the
Right.
IMDb.
So I
was gonna
wanted
be
to,
impressed.
but no, I didn't.
It's really been 20 years since I've seen this movie, but
Yeah. That's actually part of why I didn't see the sequel. Was I was like, man, it's been quite a while since I saw that. I should see it first before I see the sequel, and I never got around to it.
No. And even
Kelly MacDonald.
Kelly MacDonald reprised her role, except she's not a schoolgirl anymore, presumably. By the time the second one,
I mean, all those drugs can really hold you back.
that's true. Yeah, so if you're looking for a movie about junkies, I would not recommend Rapture. It really, again, it just didn't for me. It really did not deliver on.
apparently there's a spin-off TV series about Begbie coming.
Huh.
Really.
Which I don't know about that. But anyway. I mean, I didn't see the sequel, so maybe there's something in there that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, movie number 5, really brought it back for me though, because movie number 5 was Leviathan, starring Peter Weller and Ernie Hudson and Meg Foster and Daniel Stern.
I saw
This
that
is a movie.
back
This
when
is
it
a
came out.
movie worth watching.
Where there's a big slimy monster at the bottom of the ocean, and it is gonna either eat you or assimilate you. It's working overtime to rip off both The Thing and Alien at the same time, and it's not as good as either of those movies by a long shot, but it's still pretty fun.
It's extremely watchable, though.
Yeah, it's extremely watchable. Also, Meg Foster is just a fucking evil lady in everything she's in, and she just pulls it off with aplomb every time. And I think I realized watching that movie this morning, whatever, that I think it's because her irises are such a pale color of blue that there's something about that is just naturally off-putting.
Unsettling.
I think.
Yeah. I saw a thing. I was looking up something for some reason, and about her, and she apparently has said that Joe is talking about Leviathan.
We were talking about
Before that,
Arabato,
we were
which
talking
was
about
Rapture
Arabato.
in Spanish. That was why we were talking about junkies, because that's like a horror movie about Spanish junkies from the late 70s. And now we're talking about Leviathan, which is probably
89.
late 80s.
89. Yeah. Anyway,
You can tell they spent a fuckload of money on that movie, and it did not do well. But there's a shitload of money on the screen. There was a moment where we were doing underwater horror. I don't know what. I don't think The Abyss started that, because I think Leviathan and The Abyss were the same year. But there was Deep Star 6, and there was Leviathan, and there was The Abyss, and there was at least one other one that I can't remember the name of right off the top of my head. But we were doing deep sea horror for a minute there in the 80s, and I don't remember why, but it was a thing that was happening. And I'm pretty
Jaws?
sure Leviathan...
Is it Jaws?
Jaws came out in 76, 75, 76?
Yeah,
but
70.
I mean, they were still making bad Jaws movies.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true. Leviathan, though, the biggest audience reaction of the whole marathon that I was at last night into this morning was when Meg Foster says, "I appreciate that you've all been through hell." And Ernie Hudson goes, "Been through? Bitch, we're still here!" And everybody in the theater laughed pretty heartily at that. That was the biggest reaction of all 7 movies, for sure, was that moment. So yeah, that movie's fun. If you like wet puppets, boy, I have a movie for you, and it's Leviathan.
I do. I like those.
And then the 6th movie, the guy was like, "Okay, so you guys made it through Rapture pretty easily, pretty handily, but we're about to get
Leviathan's a good follow-up to that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's the total opposite.
Well, but then after Leviathan, he's like, now we're gonna get really trippy."
Game versus Game says, wasn't Sphere underwater?
Yes,
It was.
that was later though. That was
98.
That was 10 years after. But then movie number 6 was he was like, this movie's undergone a critical reevaluation. Both Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese have sung its praises. Here is fucking The Exorcist 2: The Heretic.
Oh no.
God, that movie is fucking bad.
Look, man, I love Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino, but they're wrong about this.
I've heard
You're wrong
this.
about that.
I've heard this position, and I wonder, did they accidentally watch Exorcist
3?
3 and
Three?
think it was
Yeah.
Exorcist 2? Because Exorcist 3 is fucking amazing.
Exorcist 3 rules.
I rewatched that movie. I rewatched Exorcist 2 2 or 3 years ago, and it's fucking bad. It is really bad.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
It's
Smoke Monster says the fact that you can play and talk so succinctly kind of pisses me off.
practice, brother, practice.
He also says he blew out his trigger finger on the SMS light gun when the analog DAC prototype arrived.
That's one light gun I don't have, actually. I need a light phaser, a Master System light phaser.
Smoke Monster says on paper, Exorcist 3 is amazing. In fact, it's the greatest film of all time on paper.
I mean, you're gonna shit talk Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
You should just.
In fact, Exorcist
This
3
is a very
is
Exorcist 3
extremely good,
group
yeah,
of people.
Yeah.
That actually
Specifically
reminds
me. It's one of my favorite horror movies.
I still haven't actually watched the Legion
special,
cut that's on
yeah.
my Blu-ray, which I'm told is actually the better version. Even though like some of the footage is like not good quality, because it's taken from like shitty versions of dailies that were not
Work prints and shit.
Yeah, but you know, I have it on good authority that it is like a better version of that movie. It doesn't have the exorcism at the end, which some people are like, yeah, I get why they put the exorcism at the end. I kind of like it, even though it doesn't really make sense.
They're bringing somebody good is bringing Exorcist back. But I can't remember who it is. But they're like gonna try to redo continue from like the actual that timeline of Exorcist movies.
With Exorcist 3, including you're saying?
No,
Exorcist 3?
with the first two
one?
with what's her face.
David Gordon Green.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's making a sequel to the.
People like those new
Halloween
Supposedly that new
2018 was
Halloween
good.
movie is pretty good.
2018 was good. I'm seeing
Halloween-
mixed things about Halloween
I would
Kills.
say I've seen some people say Halloween Kills is like one of the best sequels, period, and I've seen other people saying that it is utter fucking garbage. So
Yeah.
Now I really want to see it. I
Yeah.
didn't see the other one either, but
The 2018 one.
I
was
liked
good.
Halloween 2018 a lot.
it's part of a trilogy, right? There's gonna be
Yeah,
another
Halloween
one.
Ends is next year, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, he is going to be
yeah.
trying his hand at an Exorcist thing. So
The page on IMDb says it's a sequel to the original,
yeah,
so it's ignoring the rest.
but right, I don't know if it. Yeah,
Which I
The
think is the
TV
right way to
show
go.
from a few years
Leslie
ago
Odom
was
Jr. is in
also
it.
that.
he's gonna turn the Exorcist into the Halloween franchise by having like this weird ant farm of movies that are some movies that are connected to movies that aren't connected to other movies.
Well, the show kind of already did that, because the TV show that was on Fox a few years ago was like the first season was a direct sequel to The Exorcist 1. And that was actually like not the good season, I didn't think. The second season was just like the new exorcists like go on a road trip and do some exercising. And that I thought that was a pretty good season of television, but by that point everybody
like Monday is
basically checked
cardio
out.
and Tuesday is leg day.
Yeah, right. Basically everybody had checked out by then because the first season was like not very good, and so then it got canceled after the second season, even though again I thought the second season was like way better than the first season. But yeah, I don't know, I guess I'm interested to see what they do with it. That's kind of one of those movies that I kind of wish we would just leave well enough alone with The Exorcist 1 and 3, and like that's it, that's all you need.
True.
So Exorcist 2 though sucks, and it's boring as hell, and it's a fucking and I'm like, look, man, if there's a time to watch this movie where it could possibly be good for someone who does not indulge in psychotropic substances, it would have to be at 6:30 in the morning. That seems like it would be the best time for me to watch this movie, and I still didn't like it. So take that for what it's worth, I guess. I just like I didn't get there. It definitely delivers better on the trippy promise than Rapture did, in my opinion.
A Morricone soundtrack.
It's got a really
that must have
good
been all right.
Morricone soundtrack. James Earl Jones as like a weird locust man who then turns out to just be a doctor is pretty good. But like,
I just I don't mention. I mentioned this to Kurt yesterday, but I'll tell you too, Joe. I should actually just drop in the email thread that we have about music. But on Bandcamp, a company called Floating Dream put out a collection of 23 like themes and pieces of music from just random spaghetti westerns.
are they all
So if you
Morricone?
like, so if you like Morricone music and want like the poppier like You know what I mean? Like if you like the theme to,
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
right? And you want like a bunch of stuff that's kind of like that, but also cornier and kind of fun. Like that's a really good like $10 to spend.
Nice.
Apparently, it's the first
Who's
of a
the artist?
5. It's like the first of like 5 of these that they're gonna put out. I don't know if I need 5-hour-long compilations of random pieces of music from spaghetti westerns, but
Who's the artist?
I mean it's listed as various artists. It's called The Ecstasy of Gold Volume 1.
Okay. Of course
But-
it is.
I've been listening to it and it's a lot of fun. It's like this. There's like this one song where the guy is just listing how many people he's gonna kill.
The Ecstasy
Maybe
of
I'll
Gold
kill
Volume
one
1.
person. Yeah,
Is the
The Ecstasy
Django
of Gold
theme-
Volume 1. 23 killer bullets from the Spaghetti West.
yeah.
Is Django? Is that
No.
on there?
Not. No, these are all things that I had never heard before.
Oh, okay.
Not that I've seen a lot of spaghetti westerns, but like these are like the deep cuts of spaghetti western themes, I think. But anyways, all right. So Heretic, or yeah, Exorcist 2: The Heretic. What was next on the?
And then the final film was. What was the final film?
Made a real impression.
Well, it's just like. I mean,
know.
I watched 7 movies in a row. It's just like, wait, which one was after that? It was something that I liked. It was Silent Madness in 3D,
Ooh.
which is a 1984 semi-generic slasher set in a sorority on a college campus in a sorority. And it's one of those, like, nobody involved in this makes good decisions kind of movies. Like,
I mean, the people making it or the characters?
the characters
or
in it. Yeah,
everything?
the characters in it. So, like, the conceit is that the main character is a psychiatrist. She works in a, asylum. And at the beginning, the doctor who is her boss, but not like the head doctor of the whole thing, but her boss is like, we need to get workloads down for doctors. So, I'm gonna unilaterally just release a bunch of patients. And she's like, okay, but you released one of my patients who I don't think is ready to be released yet. And it basically turns out that due to a typo, he released a guy he meant to release a dude named, I can't remember. It's like John Henry, but he accidentally released Henry Johns, who is like a notorious serial killer of college sorority girls. So
Howard John.
Howard John, right? John
Probably
Howard.
John
Howard, and then she accidentally released
Played by someone named Sully Marks, which is a great.
Yeah.
Is he a cabbie from the Bronx that kills people?
It sounds like.
Hey, I'm murdering over here.
So, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I guess I'll. So, it's in 3D, which Unfortunately, this. I guess I can't go on that door yet. Unfortunately, this version that we watched was an anaglyph 3D, which is red green, and it's not great.
No.
I suspect the movie was actually shot in polarized 3D, but that's not the version that we saw.
It was shot in AeraVision 3D camera system, but
you
I
go.
don't know enough about 3D to know what that means.
I would guess that it means that it would use if you had a silver nitrate movie screen, which nobody has anymore, you would be able to watch it with polarized 3D glasses instead.
Man,
Which would be a
it's
better
like trying to
3D
play a night gun
experience.
game now. But I'm pumped.
There you go.
Connecting it all
Bringing
together.
back
Better,
together.
3D's not good, so.
I mean, I don't know. Kurt and I saw House of Wax at the AFI a few years ago, which I have seen before, but
You get to see Paris Hilton in 3D.
not that House of Wax.
Okay.
Not that one.
No, not that one.
We get to see Vincent Price in 3D.
Okay.
There are good 3D movies. There are a lot of bad 3D movies.
There are a lot of bad.
I don't. When do you
3D
guys?
movies.
When's the next 3D revival gonna happen?
I mean, they seem to happen like every 30.
I mean,
or
they
so
were doing
years.
a whole bunch of 3D stuff, like
Yeah, that's what I mean.
5 years
so
ago.
2040s, I think.
It
It
was
was 2040s.
further
is
back
the
than
next
that. I think it was like more like 2008, 2009, probably.
one. I think we.
Because that was when the
right.
big push. It was like right after we made the transition.
When they wanted to do
HD
3D TVs,
and then they were trying to sell TVs that had 3D,
and we were like,
and then
no.
it's like nobody's gonna.
You had
Everybody
curved
just bought an
TVs and all that
HD,
shit.
HD TV, and now you want us to buy one that's 3D that you have to wear
Yeah.
glasses to watch. Like,
Yeah, they're like,
that
no,
might
I'm
be-
good with my, I'm good with,
Yeah.
10,079,
Yeah.
1,079p's.
I mean, like
But like Avatar was like the big 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Like-
was 50s, 80s,
Early
like
2000s.
early 2010s, right? Late 2000s, early 2010s. So I
So,
think
like
2040s.
2030,
20, late 2030s, early 2040s. That's my.
Right.
Smoke Monster said I watched that when we were talking about the last movie before. Says I'm going to watch Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D on my Quest 2 eventually. Creature from the Black Lagoon actually was one of the movies I was thinking of when I said they're good 3D movies.
So Creature from the Black Lagoon is in black and white, which means the anaglyph works a lot better for that, because you're not trying to discern like color objects behind the red and blue. Although I also think that's like compared to House of Wax, the 3D kind of sucks in Creature from the Black Lagoon. But it's a lot easier to watch on your like normal TV in 3D because you just put on a pair of anaglyph 3D glasses and watch it.
Right.
But like, I mean, like the Friday the 13th Part 3 3D Blu-ray that I have, that I got in the Scream Factory set that came out last year, has the 3D. Like, if you have a 3D TV, you can watch the 3D version on the 3D TV.
Yeah.
So like, they're still making Blu-rays that
Yeah.
support that, even though I think there's like vanishingly few 3D TVs still in the market.
Game
But
versus
they're
game
probably capitalizing on the people that bought them, whales that bought them, and be like, I'll buy all the Blu-rays that have 3D support because I paid all this money for this TV.
Oh yeah, obviously. Smoke Monster says sad 3D TVs died because they were cool for gaming, which I don't know. I have like a bad astigmatism, so 3D stuff just kind of doesn't, like, my eyes are weird shaped in the lenses.
Marion has the
so
problem
just,
too.
like 3D just doesn't work the right way. It just kind of gives me a headache. So
Yeah.
I've heard people.
maybe
say-
I'm not the right person to comment on it.
I mean,
but
I don't know if that's Megan's issue, but she gets a headache from 3D. Like, she can do, like, if you go to Disney World and you do like the 20-minute ride and do a 15-minute, the Muppet thing
Right.
or whatever in 3D, like she can do that. But anything like longer than that,
I never turned it on my 3DS either. But Game vs. Game says last big 3D movie I remember were the Hobbit films, and even by the third
60
one,
frames per
pushing that.
second. And,
Right, because that was
Ugh.
that was like the movie that they talked about like it was a video game.
Yeah.
And also I don't like the Lord of the Rings movies, but I
Right.
appreciate the craft. But the Hobbit movies are
they were shit. They were
Yeah,
fucking terrible.
I really did not like those. And Justin S says John Wayne 3D was my first experience, which I don't.
No John
I
Wayne.
don't even know what 3D would have been there.
I don't know that he was in it.
The Searchers in 3D.
That's wild. That's not a movie that I feel would benefit.
I'm making that up.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the chat, so when you
Yeah.
said that, I thought he said it was the Searchers in 3D.
I'm not
That's
making the John
wild.
Wayne 3D part up. I'm just saying.
Apparently,
Searchers.
Hondo was released in 3D,
Huh, okay, sure.
so maybe that's.
There were 2 Three Stooges shorts released in 3D, but I've never seen either of them in 3D. But the one of them, at least, like, they lean hard on the thing, and they do a lot of really silly shit, which would probably be a lot of fun to see in actual 3D.
Yeah. Game versus Game says glad the 60 frames per second thing didn't catch on. And
Yeah.
Smoke Monster says I drove 2 hours to see Hobbit and 42 frames per second, then specifically avoided it for 2 and 3.
Yeah, 40. Yeah,
Huge
48
Lord-
wasn't it?
Lord of the
60,
Ring.
48. or
40,
whatever.
40.
Something
48,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. We play video games, so we think of everything in terms of 60 frames a second
60
and 30 frames a second.
Film is 24.
Right. Film is 24, yeah.
Although now with this fancy monitor, I think of everything at 144 frames a second.
Of course.
Because I want everything
monster.
to take advantage of. Listen, man,
the
I paid
frames.
extra for the fancy
Yeah,
chip in
Yeah,
my
there
monitor.
you go. You're that guy that we were
I
just
am,
talking
and
about.
you know what? Fucking rules, man. When it's working right, it's fucking awesome. But
I mean, mine does over
I'm not a
100.
fan.
I can't remember
Smoke
what
Monster
mine...
says not a fan of the Hobbits, to put it lightly.
Yeah, those movies suck.
Yeah.
I was really excited for those because I thought that like the Hobbit really should translate to film way better than
Yeah.
Well,
the
if
Lord
you
of the
made one
Rings
movie
books
instead
do.
of 3, maybe it would.
And then
Yeah.
they just
Right.
like dredged up a bunch of like liner notes and stuff to
Right.
stretch it out into it. And it
What
just,
if we
yeah,
put a
it's
bunch of
awful.
stuff from the Silmarillion in this Hobbit movie? Like,
Right.
well, I don't know.
Boring as
Everybody
shit.
hates the fucking Silmarillion, so maybe.
Listen,
don't
I
do
like that book, but I mean, it's just like a I liked that book when I read it when I was in high school, but it's not a thing that you read to be entertained. It's because you want it's just a giant
You
lore
want a
dump.
deep lore dump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I like it for the same reason I like reading the encyclopedia entries in Mass Effect or whatever bullshit. You know?
Yeah.
But if they made a Mass Effect movie, if they put a bunch of the encyclopedias in
Right,
there as actual
exactly.
movie, I'd be like, please stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Smoke Monster
you know,
says Oculus Quest 2 in 120 hertz mode is no joke. Yeah.
I mean,
If that
I
thing
believe.
didn't have hooks and with Facebook, which I refuse to make an account with, I would get one of those. But
Yeah.
I guess you could probably use it with just on a PC, probably. But
Yeah.
I thought my understanding was that was true of the earlier ones, and then the one they made
you
basically
can't do it with the new
not
one.
doable, but I could be wrong there. I basically ignored all that shit anyway because I have an index.
Yeah. Smoke Monster says props look like props, and movie magic didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, everyone wanted a 20-minute Hobbit water attraction scene. Must be when the...
Yeah, there's a huge like lug flumy section in that.
I didn't see
Just,
any of the other... I only saw the...
That's in the first one. I'm pretty
Is it?
sure I only saw the first one.
I probably blacked out because I was so angry about
Yeah,
how bad
probably.
it was.
Yeah, probably.
No, I didn't see it in 48 frames per second, but I did.
I didn't see it that way, but
I saw the first one and the third one. I managed to avoid the second one somehow, but yeah, those movies were bad. But yeah, what isn't bad though is Silent Madness, which is just
Oh, right, Silent Madness.
like that's the kind of movie that uses the 3D for stuff like a girl getting her head stuck in a vice and being able to like see her eyes start bugging out.
Buzz bug pop out. Yeah,
Yeah.
Great,
nice.
good. Sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually although the best eyeball pop out in the movies that were shown last night into this morning was at the beginning of Blood Diner. The two brothers are digging up their uncle so they can put his brain in a jar and talk to it. And
As one does.
the cemetery guard shows up and they fucking wallop him in the back of the head with a shovel and his eyeballs just like fly out of his head. So
Nice,
that's pretty good.
but not in
See.
3D. So
But
Sully
not in
Marks
3D.
was
Lost
also in
opportunity.
Joe versus the Volcano and Phantasm 2, so
Boy.
Huh.
definitely a favorite
that's
of mine.
a
obviously.
range.
Yeah.
Also in Phantasm 3, stunts in Phantasm 3. Also Waxwork 2. He did stunts in a bunch of these movies, actually.
Yeah, we never. I didn't have time
The
to watch
Kane
Waxwork.
Hodder
He was
of Silent Madness.
he was the stunt coordinator for Caged Fury as well. So
Yeah. I didn't get
That
to
sounds
watch
like
Waxwork.
a women in prison movie.
it
Probably
is.
is.
It is
Nice.
like one of the infamous
Actually,
women
I
in
might have
prison
seen that
movies
one
of
now
my
that I think about
childhood.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Cinemax. That was a regular rotation on Cinemax.
Yeah.
I feel. Yeah. I totally lost that. I was gonna say something and I just fucking.
Ooh, he was also the stunt driver in Munchies. So
There you go.
one of the
Huh.
bottom tier small creatures thing. But still, you know, you
Maybe
take what work
the
you get.
bottom tier small creature. Although some of the Critters sequels are pretty fucking bad, and like the Critters barely move. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty I like going to.
You
those
started
kinds
to
of
talk
things,
about
even
some of the 3D effects. I don't know if you were going to
yeah,
stop
no.
it.
I just the eyeballs in the Vice is really
That was the high point.
that's the sort of the high
As it
point
were.
of 3D effects. Also, the sorority girls have a Dragon's Lair cabinet in their rec room in the sorority house. Which is,
You said sorority girl slasher in 3D, and all I could think of was Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Stewardesses.
well, those are stewardesses, not sorority girls. So
Yeah, but it's in the same vein.
also the 3D in that is
They were
all
shot at the
just-
same time. Ooh, they're just popping right out at you. I don't usually do this, but let's watch another one. Another small clip.
It's very scary. Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it
What
was.
role did Woody Tobias Jr. have in this movie? That's the question.
I mean, Kurt, you and I have gone to a bunch of those together. And
Yep.
I always like the only thing that can be a bummer. This didn't happen to me this year, but it happened to me last year. So last year they did it digitally because the thing.
Right.
So last year's 12 Hours of Terror was digital, and which was nice, I guess, because what happened and the thing that you kind of don't want to happen is a movie you just watched is part of the mystery marathon. And so at one point last year, because it was at home, I just was like, okay, well, I'm just not going to watch this movie that I literally watched a week ago and didn't like very much. So, but that didn't happen this year. But I mean, I think those are a lot of fun, and they're they had a costume contest and they had they bring donuts. What I didn't realize the first time I went in 2019, I guess, compared to this year, because they kind of talked about it a lot, was the number of people who just kind of tap out and leave.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because again, 12 hours from 10 to 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. So I just slept yesterday. I got in bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then slept until 9 o'clock.
What do you even?
And then
there's no way I could do that.
Just went and watched movies all night. But I could see why you. But I'm just for me, I'm just I guess if you have a job where the hours are whatever they are, or then you can't make the beginning or you can't make the end, or. But I just if I'm in for a penny, in for a pound, man. Fucking if we're doing it, we're fucking doing it. So I stick out the whole thing, but. For people who make it all the way through, they get coffee and donuts from a local spot, and so between Exorcist 2 and Silent Madness, it was go out in the lobby and there's complimentary donuts and coffee if you need it at this point.
This seems like a better lineup than maybe some of the previous ones.
I mean, I feel like Kurt and I went to one that was
I think the
really
first
good.
Alamo one we went to was pretty good overall.
The first one that we went to, I think the first one I went to was was just me and Anthony.
Yeah, you and Anthony went to one, and then the next year or the year after, you and I went, and then we saw at least two. Actually, there was
one year we saw two in the same year.
I was going to say one year we went to two different Alamos in the same.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Actually, I because I keep all this stuff on my Letterboxd account, I can actually just check and see what we saw. Let you know. Let's see here. So, if we go backwards from 2018, which was the last year both of us lived there.
One year we saw Brain Damage, Madman, and Suspiria.
So
I feel like there's a movie missing from that.
That's a pretty good lineup.
2018 we did two.
That was the remastered Suspiria too, right?
Yeah. So
2018. Fuck Suspiria. Watch Brain Damage.
Yeah.
2018. The
Brain
first
Damage
one
was
we
good.
went to, which was Loudon, was the first one, and then Ashburn was the second one.
Yeah.
So in that year, the first one was the Loudon one. That was The Mutilator, a.k.a. Fall Break.
Yeah.
The Changeling.
Yep.
Haunted
That's a good.
Ween.
Yep.
Changeling's pretty good.
And Zombie
Changeling's
2.
good. Changeling 2 was definitely the best.
Changeling
Was definitely the best movie.
Absolutely the best movie of those, yeah. And then Zombie 2 was the last movie of that one.
Changeling.
I would say I
the
didn't think any of those
Scott
were
one, right?
clunkers.
A Haunted Ween was like
George C.
not.
Scott.
Haunted Ween
Wasn't
was not
great, but it wasn't. I wouldn't like at the end of it. I wasn't like, oh god.
Right. And then the Ashburn one was Prince of Darkness, Don't Panic, Deep Red, and Society.
Yeah.
And Don't Panic, I think it was cool that you got to see it, but that was one of the movies the first year Anthony
You had
and I
already
went,
seen it.
So I had already seen it. Which also, it's a low budget Mexican Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff with a man who is clearly in his early 20s playing a boy who is supposed to be in high school who wears dinosaur pajamas for the whole movie. Not the whole movie, but like a lot of the movie.
A lot of them.
Which is that, that's pretty good. Let's see.
Yeah.
2017.
That's one where that was Brain Damage and Madman and Suspiria.
Madman, Brain Damage. Suspiria.
But I feel like there's a movie missing now.
Madman.
I feel like we saw 4 movies.
No, I think that one was just 3, I think.
Maybe there was supposed to be another movie and then something happened.
Maybe.
So there was a.
But that's a solid lineup. Madman is like a little fucking. My favorite part of Madman remains the hot tub love scene, where it is very clear that whether it was that they paid that guy to do the song or they paid to license that song, the filmmakers were like, we paid for this fucking song and we are using every second of the song. So this is going to be an agonizingly long and like pretty unarousing hot tub love scene. Like, because we're using this fucking song. And that's all there is to it. So that one was, that one was alright. And then, let's see, 2016, that was the year I think you were out of town for the Alamo thing.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that one.
That was the year it was Nightmare on Elm Street. They announced beforehand it was Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Part 3, and New Nightmare. And I just went with some random dude that like was also in the local Alamo Facebook group because I didn't have a car, and so I was like, hey, is anybody else going to the Nightmare on Elm Street thing? Give me a ride from whatever metro station. And this dude Zach was like, I got you. And I was like, cool, I appreciate it. But that is also the year that you and I went to the AFI and saw The Thing and The Thing in a double feature hosted by
Count Gore Duvall,
which was good.
Was that the year before or the year after we saw Black Cat and
Body Snatcher?
Body Snatcher, yeah.
So I didn't start being like religious about Letterboxd until 2016. So I think 2015 was the year we went to see those.
Body Snatcher was 2014. I see.
Wow.
Okay, so there's a Norwegian black metal band called Bizarre Cult that put out, I would say, probably the best enslaved record in maybe a decade. Just maybe the one from 2010 was maybe the last really good enslaved record. But anyway, they have their album art's this really cool like ink drawing of a moose that's like climbing mountains with these trees on its back. And they're putting out a Christmas version of that's red, that's got like decorations on the trees and stuff. It's like, I have to get one of these. And I have to have this. It's an amazing piece of art. It's like a really striking, in the metal game where there's a lot of really good album covers, this is one of the best ones I've seen this year. And I love this Christmas version of the t-shirt. Anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, the one in 2019 was actually pretty good. The one in 2019 was Halloween 3, Devil Fetus, which...
Oh, yeah, right, yes.
That's a fucking movie. Amityville 2, The Possession, which is better than it has any fucking right to be.
I ran right out and watched Devil Fetus after we talked about it. That movie is a good fucking time.
That's a fucking wild-ass movie.
Yeah.
The Sender, which is like a pre-Nightmare on Elm... Like, I watched it and was like, this feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff, but then it turns out it came out like 3 years before Nightmare on Elm Street, so... But it's not as good as Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's kind of similar. Blood Quantum, which at the time was a new movie, and if you haven't seen Blood Quantum, I think it's still on Shudder. You should watch Blood Quantum because that's a good ass movie. That's the movie where there's a zombie outbreak, but it turns out it's a Canadian movie, and all of the First Nations people are immune to the zombie disease. So if they get bit or whatever, it doesn't matter. And so they're like, all people like go to the reservation land to be like, please help us and let us in. And it's interesting. It was made like almost the entire cast and crew is all Native American First Nations people, and it's a really interesting movie. But Sugar Hill, which is one of the best blaxploitation horror movies of the 70s. Sleepaway Camp 2 was, I think, that was the finisher that year. So that was
not
the
you're not the Wesley Snipes one though.
No, not the Wesley Snipes Sugar Hill. The 1974 Sugar Hill. Yeah. And last year's, I don't even really remember what the fuck was last year's. Last year I watched all 3 Maniac Cop movies, but that wasn't in a theater.
We just did that because
we're silly.
The first 2 Maniac Cop movies are completely watchable.
Yes. Okay, so last
just
year's
that
digital.
That third one's a tough road to hoe, though.
Yeah. The digital thing last year was Mausoleum, Strange Behavior, which was the movie I had just watched and I didn't much care for. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, which is also a 70s blaxploitation horror movie. Not as good as Sugar Hill, in my opinion. The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, which is like a super trippy giallo from 1971. Scary Movie, but not that one. A earlier Scary Movie, which is about a haunted house. It's actually pretty similar to Haunted Moon, actually, but not as good, I didn't think. But in that, like, on that level. Deadline. I don't even remember what the fuck that is. So clearly it made. Okay, well, let's see here. Deadline. My comment on Deadline. This is my review. This is the entirety of my Letterboxd review on Deadline. Peaks early when a goat mulches a dude with an industrial snowblower. So that's Deadline.
Seems like it'd be hard for a goat to use a snowblower.
Popular horror writer whose family life is falling apart.
I was going to say, it's about the author. Yes, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's Alan Wake?
No, well, yeah. And
1980.
Like, his son accidentally kills his daughter reenacting a scene from one of his books or something. Yeah, the goat mulching the dude with the fuck, because it's one of his books. It's like it's showing an excerpt from one of his books or a movie made from one of his books because he's supposed to be Stephen King, Alan Wake, super successful horror author, and somehow a goat uses an industrial snowblower and fucking just runs a dude over with it and splatters him everywhere. Mirror Mirror, which was like a made-for-TV movie that was like surprisingly, it's like a possessed evil mirror like turns this girl into an asshole, and like she gets magic from the evil mirror to like fuck with her classmates who all pick on her, and it's like surprisingly good. And that was it for last year. So I don't know. I just like it's a lot of movies that I would never just like pick out of a lineup to watch. You know what I mean? Like,
Karen Black is in that.
She is.
Apparently.
She is.
Nice.
Yeah, she plays the mom.
And Stephen Tobolowsky.
So, anyways, I'm not even playing Ghoul Panic anymore. It's been a little over an hour. I think we're good for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, though, with...
Go to bed, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to premiere the same name, different game Guy Den episode about Resident Evil Director's Cut in about 50 minutes, so get hyped for that. And then I'm probably going to go to bed right after that. So, good night, everybody. I'm going to end this stream now, but we'll be back tomorrow with something else.
Something else.